Imagine two neighbors. They both leave for work every morning at exactly 8. They both drive nice cars, wear expensive-looking clothes, and from the outside, their lives look almost identical. But behind closed doors, they are living two completely different financial stories. The first neighbor earns $250,000 a year. He has a beautiful house, a luxury SUV, and the latest gadgets. Yet every month, he is stressed. He is living paycheck to paycheck. The second neighbor earns $85,000 a year. No luxury car, no mansion, no designer clothes, but every month he invests. He sleeps well. His net worth quietly grows. Now here's the question: who is actually richer? Most people point to the first neighbor because we confuse income with wealth. But income is what you make. Wealth is what you keep. Today, we're going to settle one of the biggest debates in personal finance. Is a high salary the fastest path to wealth, or do low expenses quietly win the race? If you spend enough time online, you'll hear two completely opposite messages. One group says to stop worrying about buying coffee and just earn more money. Another group says to live like a monk and save every penny. One side worships income, the other frugality. They're both incomplete. The real question is which one creates the biggest long-term advantage. Let's be honest, a high salary solves a lot of problems. More money means a safer neighborhood, better health care, better schools, and the ability to travel. It gives you options. Imagine two people lose their jobs tomorrow. One has been earning $300,000, the other $40,000. All else being equal, the higher earner had more opportunity to build a financial cushion, provided they did not spend it all. That last part is the catch. Income creates potential, but it does not automatically create wealth. Think of income as water flowing through a pipe. A bigger salary means a bigger pipe, so more water flows. But if your bucket has holes in it, it doesn't matter how much water you pour in, most of it disappears. This is why we constantly hear stories of professional athletes, movie stars, and CEOs who made millions and still went bankrupt. Income doesn't fix bad financial habits. A recent Goldman Sachs report found that 40% of households earning over $500,000 a year still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. Their lifestyles grow as fast as their incomes. As they earn more, bigger houses, luxury cars, and expensive vacations become their new normal. When the paychecks stop, but the expensive lifestyle continues, even millions of dollars disappear surprisingly fast. High income without discipline creates the illusion of wealth without the reality of wealth. Now, look at the opposite side. Person A earns $70,000 and spends $68,000 every year. Person B earns $70,000 and spends $45,000. Who becomes wealthy first? The second person, not because they make more, but because they keep more.
Every dollar you do not spend has two jobs. First, it stays in your pocket. Second, it can go to work for you. Invested wisely, today's savings generate future returns. Over long periods, consistent investing allows gains to compound. Throughout history, many of the world's wealthiest people were not necessarily the highest earners. They were exceptional owners of businesses, real estate, and investments. They understood that it is not the size of your paycheck that changes your future. It is the size of the gap between your paycheck and your lifestyle. Think of your income as a river. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make the river wider, but they ignore the fact that their lifestyle has become an even bigger river downstream. Wealth is not created by having the widest river. It is created by building the largest reservoir. That reservoir is the gap between what flows in and what flows out. There is a story that appears again and again in studies of wealth. A man drives a 10-year-old pickup truck, lives in the same modest house for decades, and rarely buys designer clothes. Most people assume he is struggling. What they do not see is that he quietly invested every month for 30 years. Meanwhile, his neighbor drove a new luxury SUV every 3 years, upgraded phones every year, and bought the biggest house the bank would approve. Both earned good incomes. Only one built lasting wealth. Real wealth is usually invisible.
You can see someone's car, watch, or house. You cannot see their investment account, their financial freedom, or the stress they do not have. So a high salary creates opportunity, and low expenses create retention. What happens when someone has both? What happens when someone earns more without spending more? This is where wealth starts compounding at an entirely different speed. Every raise becomes bigger than a raise. Every bonus becomes bigger than a bonus. Every extra dollar begins multiplying instead of disappearing. This is the wealth multiplier effect. It is the moment when a growing income meets a disciplined lifestyle. Think about a rocket. The hardest part is not flying through space, it is leaving the ground. For the first few minutes, the rocket burns almost all of its fuel just to escape gravity. Building wealth works exactly the same way. When you are young, every raise matters because you are trying to escape lifestyle gravity. Lifestyle gravity is the invisible force that pulls your spending upward every time your income increases. You get a raise, so you upgrade your apartment. You buy a nicer car, take expensive vacations, and order delivery instead of cooking. Little by little, your lifestyle rises to meet your paycheck. Before you know it, you're making twice as much money, but somehow you're not any wealthier. This is lifestyle inflation, a behavioral trap that captures high earners everywhere. We see people over-relying on credit and ignoring strategic financial planning because they assume their high income is a permanent safety net. Now imagine someone else. They get the same raise, but instead of upgrading everything, they upgrade almost nothing. Their income keeps climbing while their lifestyle grows slowly. The gap becomes larger with each year. That growing gap becomes the fuel that launches them financially.
Your wealth does not grow in proportion to your income. It grows in proportion to your savings gap. Let us do a simple thought experiment. Imagine someone earns a high salary for 30 years, but every time they receive a raise, they pretend they never got half of it. If they receive a $10,000 raise, they allow themselves to enjoy $5,000. The other $5,000 quietly goes toward investing. No dramatic sacrifices, just one simple rule. Over 30 years, those invisible decisions compound into hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on asset allocation. A larger savings gap provides more capital, but how you invest it matters immensely. Consistently investing in a well-diversified portfolio capitalizes on the higher returns of equities over time. You are creating an asset out of thin air, whereas the person who spent their entire raise just bought a temporary lifestyle upgrade. Every dollar spent is gone forever, but every dollar invested has the potential to keep working for decades. Money is like planting trees. If you eat every seed, you will never have a forest. If you plant enough seeds, eventually the forest feeds you. High-income earners face unique psychological hurdles. Without a clear financial plan, decision paralysis sets in. They leave money in low-yield accounts or fail to maintain an emergency fund. Financial literacy is the shield against these traps. Studies clearly show a strong positive correlation between financial literacy and wealth accumulation, regardless of income level. We have proven strategies to fight back against the urge to spend. Setting up automatic transfers to savings on payday ensures that you pay yourself first. Implementing a waiting period before making major purchases breaks the cycle of impulsive spending. Resisting the social pressure to keep up appearances is perhaps the most powerful tool of all. When you stop caring about what your neighbors think of your 10-year-old car, you regain total control over your financial destiny. So, high salary or low expenses? That is actually the wrong question. A high salary without discipline creates a rich-looking life. Low expenses without growth can create unnecessary limitations. But a high salary combined with intentionally low expenses creates something incredibly powerful. It creates choice. The choice to retire early, the choice to change careers, the choice to start a business, the choice to help your family, the choice to say no to a job you hate. That is what wealth really buys, not expensive things, freedom. I'll leave you with this. Imagine two ladders. One ladder is built from income.
The other is built from discipline. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make the first ladder taller. Very few spend time strengthening the second. But history teaches us that the people who build lasting wealth climb both. They increase what they earn, they protect what they keep, and they allow time to multiply the difference. Your paycheck might dictate how you live today, but your savings gap dictates how you will live tomorrow.